I start? So in 8th grade, I went to Paris with my grandmother, and on the flight over, we flew Air France, and we were in the back of the plane, and I had never been abroad before, and so when the food comes around, the options were chicken or fish.
And my dad called me too, and of course I'm gonna ignore my dad. My dad just talked to me. So, and afterwards, you know, like they're getting worried, kept calling me. This is at a time when I was selling a lot of fucking pot with my roommate. I woke up from a nap from
beach retreats and ski retreats with our youth group, like every year. And one year we were in the van coming home from, I think, a ski retreat. And he and I were sitting in like the second row of the van. And in the first row, in like the driver's seat, I think was my youth pastor. And then in the passenger seat was like one of the other youth leaders. And he and I were sitting in the second row, my boyfriend and I. And I was like laying with my head in his lap. And he had his arm like kind of laying on my leg. But at one point I put my pillow like across my lap and he started
on Air France. Yeah, and I was just crying and really upset. So my grandmother called down to the concierge and said, you know, like, we need a doctor up here. You know, my granddaughter is just so sick and upset that like we need to get some medicine going here. So the doctor comes to the door and knocks, and he's like the most quintessential, stereotypical Frenchman. Like he had those like twisty mustache, and then he had like a bowler hat on, and he was wearing all black and like had like a little suitcase with him. And my grandmother opened the door and he was like, bonjour. And like
fire, he's like, the darn thing's on fire and stuff like that. So I get out the car and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, it's on fire, like the engine had blown and stuff. And we were just sitting on the side of the road and he was just cussing out a whole bunch of language, swear words. So he just told me to get back in the car, even though it was on fire. It was stupid. And I was just over here on my phone and like,
this guy Bill on his couch, my couch at the time, and he told me the cops were coming. So I went over to the door, you know, hit my scales, hit my pot, hit everything illegal, including like alcohol bottles and those kinds of things at the time. And they asked me if I was here, if I'm Abraham Select, and I said I was.
He does, he goes,
I was scared to shit. They told me that
and
my dad called
needle.
the police
So I'm
department
gonna
in
get shot,
DC.
and
Like,
I
Monday,
got pulled into the church parking lot. A couple days later,
got crushed.
and that was my experience of Paris, France. I didn't really see anything. I never saw the Mona Lisa. I went to one museum. I mainly vomited in a hotel.